And so I'm very familiar. I'm also familiar with East Texas. I did not grow up in East Texas. I actually grew up in Dallas. But I think that they did a great job of portraying what you're going to see in Texas for those of you who have never been here. And speaking of here, I'm just going to quickly announce something that is very important and special. And it is that we are moving. So on Patreon, eventually I'm going to get more into this. But all I'm going to say for now is that California, I'm coming for you. You're getting closer. You're getting much closer. And Patreon, eventually I'm going to talk more about that in the future. But one moment, because there's a lot that I need to go over before I get into today's topic. To book a personal tarot reading with me, submit your question for the 6th House Virgo segment, or read the full disclaimer, which includes spiritual consent and listener responsibility, visit the official Lua Nova website, which is luanovapodcast.net. To become a Patreon member, download the Patreon app or visit patreon.com/the Lua Nova podcast. For those of you who said that you really enjoy the collective readings or you just want to support Lua Nova, you can do so directly via Venmo or Cash App. The Venmo username is @LuaNova. The Cash App username is $Lua Nova Podcast. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Obrigada. I want to thank those of you who reached out to check on me. You literally took the time to reach out to the Lua Nova team and ask that I get your messages just asking how I'm doing. I'm doing just fine. I'm feeling a lot better. Thank you for hanging in there with me during the last 2 episodes. I was not happy that I had to completely restructure the August episodes based on what I wanted to talk about. One of those episodes is actually going to end up getting moved to Patreon just because if I don't, I'm not going to have the time to start a new series in September like I wanted to. And also, that I always celebrate Virgo season. If you're new here, I am a Virgo sun. That is my sun sign. And I always do episodes related to Virgo season. And then I always do something special for my birthday as a way to give back and a way to celebrate with everybody. And I chose this show, by the way, because there's a lot of really negative things going on in the world right now. It is just nonstop negativity. And I'm not referring to just the United States. I recently saw a protest where a woman in Portuguese, she was giving her big ups to Donald Trump, which turned my stomach. So I'm just going to say this right now. If you have ever supported Donald Trump, or if you support Donald Trump, I don't care if you're in the United States or outside of the United States, get out. I don't ever want you as a part of the Lua Nova brand, the team, the energy here, ever. And yes, I know how to transmute your energy, but I just want you to know right now that you will never be welcome here. So I'm saying now. And I want to say something to those people who don't understand why people from Latin America and people who have Latin American descent wear our flags here in the United States. Now, I'm not explaining this to the maggots because I couldn't care less. They're also not intelligent enough to even find this podcast, so I'm not worried about that. This is for those of you who are just genuinely curious. The reason why is because we have a culture. And so we represent our cultures because we love our cultures and because our cultures are constantly being persecuted. Okay. And of course, the people who from different cultures and different backgrounds, you can understand what I'm talking about. If you're from a country in Africa, then you might be very proud of wearing your flag, etc. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're from France, if you're from Germany and you wear things that have those flags on it, there's nothing wrong with that. I totally understand that because you're celebrating your own culture. Now, the reason why this is something that is brought up in the United States is that the U.S. flag is associated with racism. Now, so is the Brazilian flag, by the way. A lot of flags are. But the reason why I will never stop wearing the Brazilian flag in the U.S. is because, one, I want to educate people. The amount of dumbass people that I come across who don't know that Afro-Latinos exist, who don't know that Brazil is the largest Latin American country, who don't even know that Brazil speaks Portuguese and not Spanish, blows my mind. So when I make these jokes about the United States education system, that's what I'm talking about. So I take the time to educate people. And of course, I even poke fun at my own self and say, oh, there's that U.S. education system, because one time I had a listener write in and I could not remember the abbreviation for the state that they were writing in from. And I said out loud on the show, there's that education system, because that's what I'm talking about, is that little things like that I should know. Sometimes I forget. I was poking fun at myself, but that's what I'm referring to wrap that up. And so I get that on social media, it is just nonstop negativity lately. Doesn't matter what platform you're on. Doesn't matter how many crystals you look up, how many meditations you look up. They will still, and I will say YouTube's better at this than others about not doing this, but for the most part, the others go out of their way to push the most negative content ever. And TikTok, I am calling you out about this. This is why I no longer post on TikTok, is that I'm like, why would I keep posting on a platform that goes out of its way to be so negative and does absolutely nothing for people of color like myself, that tries to actually hide what is happening to my people? And so I'm not having it. So I don't post on TikTok, by the way. But speaking of TikTok, I get that we all need an escape. I get it. And I want to point out something. I want to point out the following people who asked me to talk about this person. Cassian, who is located in Pennsylvania. Malcolm, who is located in Idaho. Is that? Yeah, Idaho. And Mona, and she is located in Texas. Thank you for asking me to talk about Kendra. And I'm going to make this very brief. If you're not familiar with Kendra, I'm so happy for you. But she is a woman that has gone viral on TikTok because, by her own words, she became obsessed with her psychiatrist. This is very one-sided. I don't see where the psychiatrist did anything unprofessional. And this is by her own account, that she said herself that he did not cross any boundaries, things like that. And the reason I'm bringing her up, and the reason why I was asked to mention her, is that she claims to be a life coach. She wears crystals. She claims to read tarot. And so when I came across her, I saw that, one, she doesn't really know how to read tarot at all. Two, she tries to use tarot to justify whatever psychosis she's going through. And then she heavily relies on AI to validate herself and to then push that onto her clients. And so you see, that's an issue. That's where the issue comes in at for me, because I am a real tarot reader. I've been reading tarot for 17 years. And so tarot is just in my blood. I guess you could say, even though my great-grandmother did not read tarot, she read tea leaves. But it is, spirituality of all types has always been something that I was drawn to. As you all know by now, both sides of my family had witches, and then I was born. Okay, so fast forward to today, here I am, a happy witch on a podcast. And I get paid to do what I love, and I get paid to genuinely help people. And with that being said, there has to be boundaries, and that includes with AI. There's nothing wrong with using AI as a tool to help you, but that's all it is. The same way that you would use search engines or Siri. When you talk to Siri, you understand you're talking to a robot. So I'm not understanding where the disconnect is with ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is the exact same thing. It is also a robot. It is not a human being. It is taught by human beings. And it has confirmed many times that it does not have human emotion whatsoever. Now, it might become sentient in the future. Who knows? Maybe we can talk about that another day. But I want you all to be careful, because the fact that this woman is selling, I guess, her coaching for thousands of dollars means that she is energy farming from people who don't know any better. This is why I say be careful of who you give your energy to. Your energy is currency. And so when you're feeding into negativity all day long, or you start to watch Kendra nonstop, or people like her nonstop, it is now going to affect you, because now your energy is being harvested towards somebody who knows exactly what they're doing. They know this. This is why, the reason why I mentioned that this is an anti-Donald Trump podcast all the time is that this is something he does. He's a severely insecure and negative person, so he's great at farming negative energy to him. And so this is why I'm like, be careful about giving your money, etc. And that's all I'm going to say about Kendra. So moving on. And thank you for your questions, by the way, guys. I'm not upset with you. I just wanted to warn everybody, please be careful of who you're listening to, because some of these people are just downright scammers. Some of them need to get professional help from somebody who they're not going to cross boundaries with, because she definitely did. And, I just want you all to be careful, because what we're seeing with her is not somebody with spiritual gifts.